What is up, everybody? This is the MaskedGameReviewer, and welcome. So, in the recent years, Rockstar has done a pretty fantastic job of keeping up on their key franchises. Back in 2010, we saw a new Red Dead with Red Dead Redemption, which was an amazing game. Last year in 2012, we saw a new Max Payne with Max Payne 3, and again, a pretty fantastic game. And now this year in 2013, we get the mega monster that is GTA 5. And I got to wondering, what game from Rockstar would I like to see them, go back to and make a sequel to? And the first game that came to mind was Bully, and I would love to see a Bully 2. After a quick internet search of Bully 2, I actually found an article that pertained to the subject that was quite recent. In an article, Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser was asked if they would consider making a new Bully, and his response was yeah. He says personally it's one of his favorite games they've ever made, and he feels like it's one of the most misunderstood games they've ever made, and he would definitely like to revisit it. He goes on to say that this game is misunderstood because Rockstar was deemed an evil company because their GTA games were so violent, and they thought that would translate over to a game like Bully. The game took place in a school with children, and they thought that it was just going to be violence and that it would encourage violence in schools, and that was not the case at all. Dan Houser goes on to say, and I quote, "We were confident we were not making a game in which you were a bully. You were equally not lily white, of course, but you were not a bully. You were sort of standing up to a culture that encouraged bullying by being this tough kid that wasn't sucked into that kind of world and was friends with some of the weaker kids, but by no means a saint. It was a response, a strong response to that kind of institutionalized categorization of people." Being a person that has actually played through the game, I wholeheartedly agree with this. In the game, you were not a bully. You were by no means a good kid, but you were not a bully. The game had great story, great characters. I really liked the main character, Jimmy. He was definitely an antisocial kid, but he was not a bad kid. He would see injustices in the school, and he would fight against them. He would fight against bullying, and he himself was not a bully, which was a great character. He was really likable in the way that Nico Bellic was likable in GTA 4. Even though he was a bad person, he still had a likable personality that you could kind of relate with, and it just made the character really interesting, and the whole story was interesting as well. So now on to the point of my video. Before I even looked up the article on Bully 2 and what they were saying about it, I was actually thinking of what Bully 2 would be, and I wrote down some ideas in here of what I think it should be. Point number one, and this is definitely the main one, the setting of Bully 2 should definitely be college. The thing I love about Rockstar is how they take elements of modern American culture and satire it. I've always found that humorous. Even in GTA 5, I find it extremely hilarious. It's kind of that concept. It's funny because it's true, because you hear it and you just laugh at it because it's kind of parallel to our American culture in the modern times. Rockstar should definitely take a crack at the college culture because I think they would knock it out of the park. It would be hilarious. I feel like they would do such a good job and have so many different ideas with it. There's so many ideas they could do with the college concept. I mean, you could have mini games like, going to a house party and playing cups. You could, go to bars and play darts. And there could even be stuff like relationships, side quests, and stuff like that. As for the game world, I feel like it should have a pretty big campus. But as for the world around it, because the first Bully had a school, but it also had a pretty sizable town around it. And while I think Bully 2 should have a sizable college area, I don't think the area surrounding the college should be quite as big as GTA 5. There would really be no purpose to travel that far away from college, because that's where all the main stuff would be going on. So I don't think the world should be quite as big as GTA 5, but it should definitely be a decently sizable area to go travel around. You could have different teachers with different personalities. You could have kind of the hipster teacher with the hipster mentality who's really down to earth, or you could have the really closed-minded teacher who's just kind of a hard ass. Another idea I thought for this game would be, you start as a freshman and you eventually make your way up to a senior after you're progressing through the game. Because in Bully 1 it actually progressed to different seasons. There was a part where it was Halloween, there was a part where it was Christmas and there was snow everywhere, and I think this concept would be really good here because you could come in as a fresh-faced freshman, and then you could eventually make your way up to the top senior, top dog. I was also thinking, should a game like this have guns in it? And I came to the conclusion that no, it probably shouldn't. You might be thinking, well, they're in college and people would probably have weapons, but I don't think it would really fit in. Think of it this way. If there was a mission where you had to sneak into the college campus at night for whatever reason, and you had to sneak around, and maybe there was a security guard, and let's say you eventually got caught by the security guard, the only recourse would be to just pull out a gun and shoot him, but that would be so out of place for the type of game that this would be. This would be more of a you're a college student, and it's different than GTA 5 because the characters in GTA 5 are already criminals. You already know that they're criminals from their past, and you know that they're still criminals currently, so they're obviously going to use weapons. But in a game like this, the character would not be a criminal right away. He would definitely not be a wimp. He would not take any crap from people. But as for using guns or killing anyone, I don't think that should be an option in Bully 2. It definitely wouldn't fit in with the story. It wouldn't fit in with how the character is, and Bully 1 didn't have guns, and it did fine making the game fun. There was a good variety of missions of different things to do, and the game stayed fun even without guns. So I think for Bully 2 in the college setting, there definitely shouldn't be guns, and there definitely shouldn't be any killing. As for the character you would play as in Bully 2, I think they should definitely bring back Jimmy Hopkins, but even if they decided not to, I think they could, definitely take that route as well. I'm sure they could still make a new, interesting character with a great personality, but it would definitely have to be a personality like Jimmy Hopkins, someone who, he isn't a straight-up bully, but he's not going to take, any crap from people. He's definitely going to stand up for himself and stand up for others, because that's what made Jimmy Hopkins so likable. So that's pretty much all my ideas for Bully 2. I think it would be a great game. I think Rockstar would knock it out of the park doing the college setting. I think it would be funny. I think it would have a great story, and I think they would just have so much material to work with all the stereotypes of, college people and how they act. It would definitely be a game that I'm looking forward to. Anyways, I'm the Masked Game Reviewer, and I'll talk to you guys next time.